relationship with the living world. More and more of us are taking our place once again as full participants in the web of life, which we remember is held together by love. There are no magic words to incant, no spiritual laws to memorize, no ruby slippered heels to click 3 times. You don't need to read 100 new eco-theology books, or leave the church, or become an animist or a pantheist. But you can if you want to. You simply need to learn how to listen and allow your heart to be broken, just like you do every time you fall in love. Because the holy is in your place, too. You open the gates into this enchanted land, your home, with hands muddied from the soil outside your house and a raw, scabby, and unprotected heart. You enter naked and brave. 1. A communion of subjects. The divine communicates to us primarily through the language of the natural world. Not to hear the natural world is not to hear the divine. Thomas Berry, The Sacred Universe, 20th century CE. On the edge of the barranca, behind the 1970s Southern California suburb where I was a teenager, among the sagebrush and valley oaks, I had a place. Before it was completely developed into million-dollar homes, this canyon's edge of the barranca was my place. I never brought anyone else there. I never talked about it to anyone. It was a secret. I liked the getting there nearly as much as the being there. The path wandered through tall-as-me wheat-looking weeds that squeaked when you pulled the heads out, boulders and even taller brushes of scrubby sage and laurel sumac defined a particular path, a deer trail that looped around the edges of the barranca wall. The entrance was appropriately hidden. To recognize it, you needed to train your eyes and leave markers like stones atop one another or a small ribbon tied to a broken branch. It took me several visits before the homing beacon of the place would draw me there without annoying backtracking. But once I knew precisely where to put aside the scratchy pointed leaves of the sprawling oak brush, my place would be revealed. It was a small clearing on a scrubby cliff that looked out over a mysterious campground that I couldn't quite see. The acoustics of the canyon allowed me to listen in on entire conversations of strangers at the campground who didn't realize the walls amplified their voices. I felt deliciously invisible, imagining whole lives of the unseen, but clearly heard people beneath the rocks 60 feet below me. But the humans were not my primary interest. The hawks were, the lizards and spiders were, the cloud structures, the warm Santa Ana winds. A particular scrub jay stopped being a bird in the background and became a sacred other, one whom I encountered in second person. She became familiar to me, and I would look for her every time I visited. I made a circle with rocks, and around that, a square with sticks, and inside the circle, a triangle with 3 branches. I was adapting a symbol I knew from YMCA camp, a cross in the middle of a triangle, in the middle of a square, in the middle of a circle. It just didn't look right to me, so I rearranged it. In the middle of the triangle, where the cross is supposed to go, was the space for me. From this vantage point, at the crest of the barranca cliff, protected by amulets of ritual I didn't fully understand, I would sit and listen and watch. Twice a year, sheep grazed in the fields on the other side of the canyon. Sheep